Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of the Points of Light Institute, Michelle Nunn, and the acting CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service, Robert Velasco II.
Said, take me home, home. Take me home.
Robert and I are so glad to be here. Please, I just want to also just do one more round of applause to celebrate the artistic craftsmanship of these New Orleans exemplars and their leadership in the creation of the Musicians Village. It's an extraordinary story. Branford Marsalis, Bob French, and the dynamic Mayor Landrieu represent the resiliency, talent, and the unique buoyancy of this region. Over the next few days, our focus will be on people and their enormous capacity to overcome adversity and to work for the common good. We'll be lifting up service champions, and this city and the Gulf offer up some of the world's most outstanding service champions. Over the last 5 years, we've seen devastating hurricanes, an enormous oil spill, and a major flood overwhelm the Gulf. But over the next few days, we come not to focus on the tragic consequences of these disasters, but to lift up the stories of extraordinary people who are writing the next chapters in the narrative. These champions of service are the heroes who will have the last word. They embody the determination, sacrifice, and generosity that's born of disaster. You know, we can learn a lot about the bonds of community and the enormous possibilities of citizen action from New Orleans and other communities that have faced disaster. We can learn how brave, innovative individuals took the region's problems into their own hands and created solutions. We can see the enormous wellspring of compassion that can be tapped to meet our mounting challenges, including endemic poverty, inequities in healthcare, and failing schools. Now, more than ever, we need service champions, super empowered citizens who are utilizing new, more powerful tools for change. As Joshua Cooper Ramos states in his recent book, for all the bad that a few hedge fund traders or terrorists can do, it is also possible that each of us, any of us, can unleash powerful and permanent change. Now, our work at Points of Light Institute is to connect people to their power to create this change. And we want to lift up 21st century volunteers who are using all of their assets, their time, their talents, their dollars, and their voice to meet the critical needs of our time. Let me share a few Points of Light stories that illuminate how people are making a difference in exciting and very powerful ways. Generation On, Points of Light's youth division, is capturing the energy of young people to make their mark on the world. A new generation is creating change with a speed and a scale that is electrifying. Riley Hebert is a 7-year-old from Pennsylvania. And in 2009, she saw a news show about a Darfur refugee camp where children were playing with rocks and with dirt. And the images inspired her to send her own toys and ask her preschool friends and local businesses to do the same. Over the last 2 years, Riley has formed a nonprofit, created 10 donation centers, and shipped more than 18,000 toys to Africa. So, at age 7, Riley is truly a global entrepreneur, and she's pretty cute. Our Points of Light Volunteer Activation Division Hands-On Network provides 30 million volunteer hours to communities each year. It also helps catalyze change makers like Brenda Rhodes. Brenda is a Hands-On Atlanta volunteer and served 1,200 volunteer hours last year at shelters and food banks. Her service inspired her to create Simple Needs Georgia. And this initiative provides the everyday essentials that can make a great difference in helping break the cycle of homelessness and also hopelessness. One of the thousands of individuals she's helped is Rebecca and her 3 children. Rebecca told Brenda, "I can stop crying now after receiving furniture, kitchen items, linens, toys to start anew." Points of Light's AmeriCorps alums taps into more than 600,000 individuals who have served their country and are prepared for a lifetime of service leadership. Do we have any alums in the house? All right. Awista Ayub used her experience in the AmeriCorps NCCC to create change in a very special way. Awista was only 2 when her family fled from Afghanistan to a life of freedom in the United States. And with this freedom, she was introduced to sport, something that was unfathomable in Afghanistan. Her passion for sport, along with her service leadership skills, led her to return to her home country to make a difference. And she founded an organization dedicated to nurturing Afghan girls through soccer. Her dream has transformed the lives of hundreds of girls and is now an organized league of 15 teams. She sees her work in Afghanistan as an extension of her NCCC experience. Through teamwork, discipline, accountability, the league is helping girls find strength in each other and in themselves. These stories remind us of how far we've come as a service movement, how it's been enlarged, strengthened, and even globalized. In 2007, Hands On Network held our annual conference here in New Orleans, and at that time, we had less than 70 affiliates. Hands On Network's merger with Points of Light presented a lot of challenges, but it has left us stronger. Today, we have a network of 250 hands-on affiliates in 16 countries. We have 1,800 Generation On kids care clubs and more than 200 AmeriCorps alums chapters. Last year, we engaged 2.7 million volunteers, a 30% year-over-year increase. That deserves a hand for the amazing work of the affiliates. Points of Light Institute works with more than 76,000 partners worldwide, including many of you, and we continue to grow. Our journey is emblematic of the challenges and opportunities our field faces in the coming year, the need for more collaboration, constrained budgets, and reimagining our work. Earlier this year, Points of Light hosted a celebration of service and a tribute to President George H.W. Bush. President Clinton concluded the program with a remarkable tribute to his predecessor. He said, as he was leaving office, the only thing George Herbert Walker Bush asked me to do was to preserve Points of Light. And now, hundreds of millions of hours of volunteer work has been done. I've always been grateful that he asked and that I listened. So when I was leaving and George W. Bush was coming in, the only thing I asked him to do was to preserve AmeriCorps. And he did, and I'm very grateful. It's ironic that at the same time that 5 presidents rallied in support for service in all its forms, from community volunteering to national service to social innovation, that there have been threats to zero out funding for one of the only issues that has received continuous bipartisan support over the last 25 years. It's incumbent upon our service community to unite and collaborate as never before to demonstrate that service and citizen engagement are essential to meeting the challenges before us. At this moment of polarization and acrimony, service can unite our nation and the world, creating bridges that are truly unique. President Clinton went on in his remarks to say that George W. Bush did him one of the greatest favors of his life when he asked him to work with his father to help people in need after the tsunami and after Hurricane Katrina. Clinton called it an amazing experience, saying, "This man whom I'd run against in a painful campaign, I literally came to love." Service was a bridge that brought together Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush, and in fact, it has united every president over the last 3 decades. It's been a balm in the face of disaster, a beacon at a time of economic duress, and a bright spot for the nation and for the world. So let's go forward to tell our story with a powerful, united voice to ensure that our super-empowered citizens are the authors of our next chapters. You know, this conference has continued to grow over the years, and we've been so grateful to the Corporation for National and Community Service, as well as sponsors like Target, for allowing us to extend our reach and our impact. And Robert, on behalf of the entire service community, we just want to express our gratitude for your leadership at this very critical time.
Champions of Service, good afternoon. Welcome to New Orleans, and welcome to the 2011 National Conference on Volunteering and Service. What a way to begin my second week in my new job. I want to add my thanks to Mayor Landrieu, the Roots of Music, Branford Marsalis, Bob French, and the great city of New Orleans for that warm and rollicking musical welcome. Now I know what Louis Armstrong meant when he said, "What we play is life." There is so much life in this city and in this room. We are here this week to celebrate the vibrant spirit of service that has brought this city back and has reminded the world that America is great because America is good. That's the spirit that got you here today. It's the spirit that gets you up every morning with one single thought in mind. How can I be of service to my community, my country, and my world? As your participation in service projects this week makes clear, we didn't just come to New Orleans to meet. We came here to serve. I want to thank Michelle Nunn and the Points of Light Institute for again co-sponsoring the largest gathering of service leaders in the world. I also want to thank President Obama, not only for giving me the opportunity to serve as acting CEO of CNCS, but also for his extraordinary commitment to citizen service and his belief that volunteers are central to solving the big problems facing our nation. If you need a reminder of the vital role we play in communities and the dedication Americans bring to this work, look no further than Joplin, Missouri. 2 hours after the nation's deadliest tornado in 6 decades struck Joplin, a dozen members of the AmeriCorps St. Louis Emergency Response Team packed their gear and hit the road. They drove through the night, arriving in Joplin at 2:30 in the morning. In just 3 hours, the team had set up a missing persons hotline, which is running around the clock, logging thousands of calls from people looking for their loved ones. In the last 2 weeks, the 130 AmeriCorps members on the ground have deployed the more than 14,000 volunteers that had come from near and far to lend a hand. And what a job they're doing. But CNCS isn't just there for natural disasters. AmeriCorps, Senior Corps, Learn and Serve America. We are in communities, large and small, throughout the country, every day, tackling the disasters of hunger, homelessness, illiteracy, and disease that rob too many Americans of the opportunity to reach their full potential. Reaching our full potential. That's what this conference is all about. During the next few days, we want to explore ways to increase the impact of national service and maximize the value we add to the American tradition of neighbor helping neighbor. And we want to join with you in making the strongest possible case for continuing the federal investment in national service. Thank you for being here, for standing with us, and thank you for being champions of service.